right, well, welcome to Trigger Tuesday for another episode. We're all the way, believe it or not, at episode 18 for March 31st, 2020. I'm triggered already because I'm already missing Mark Cagley. I don't know what the fuck is
Cagely.
going on. Cagely
Mr.
is
Cagely.
Mr. Cagely. Mr. Cagely is either, I don't know, getting bitched at or he's out hoarding toilet paper, something like that. That's what I would expect him to be doing right now. But the
That
show
sounds about
must
right.
the show must go on. We still have Mr. David Crossan, the famous David Crossan, formerly of Classic Game Room, the original dude of Classic Game Room, the
The
man,
original dude.
the original dude, who's referenced several times on Wikipedia, mind you, and you even know that. I thought that was funny. So apparently there's some person out there that really followed that shit and like wrote this like 7-page entry on that, and you're like mentioned like 19 times.
Yeah, it was very detailed.
It was very
It was
detailed.
just funny to see like my name in Wikipedia. It's just weird.
Oh,
And I didn't put it there.
well, I guess you figure there's somebody out there who has
Yeah.
probably followed it forever, and
Catalog that shit.
yeah, that's just crazy. All right, well, we have a few topics, some interesting things, and surprisingly, even though we're locked inside our house for over 2 weeks straight, we're still triggered about video games. How is that possible? I do not know. But something that was just announced today, and we do record 24 hours early, mind you, was that the Super Mario 35th anniversary HD remakes are on the way. And so far, the rumor mill is that we have a Super Mario 64 and a Super Mario Galaxy HD remake on the
And
way.
Sunshine.
Oh yes,
I think
that's right.
Sunshine was on the list, and then Galaxy too.
Galaxy 2 as well.
Or not Galaxy 2, Galaxy also.
Galaxy also. Okay, got it. Well, so basically, all of the 3D Super Mario's are definitely on the way to, I guess, line up evenly with the latest Switch entry, Odyssey.
And it wasn't one of like the Wii or Wii U like 2.5D ones on that list?
Oh,
Or
Super.
maybe it was like a 3DS one. I can't remember. Where's that list?
I didn't see the list itself, but if you are pulling that up, maybe we can just talk about like I think you
3D
call.
World.
Oh yeah, 3D World, which was a Wii U exclusive. Oh shit, that's even more triggering. Just the fact that anything that was basically a Wii U exclusive is now dead.
Yes, pretty much. There will always be Devil's Third, I guess.
That's true. And you know what? In some ways, I am pissed. In other ways, I'm not. If they just do this as like a quick one and done HD remake and it's just upscaled, there's nothing added to it, nothing in terms of enhancements. You know what I mean? No like quality of life features like quick saves and shit like that. I don't know. Something like that. Like if there's nothing and there's no like maybe tweaked controls that are to the Switch or refined controls, and it doesn't run buttery smooth, and it's just like a half-assed port, I'll be triggered. But if they
Well,
add.
that's the thing is that none of their games ever run like garbage anyway. So like
Mhm.
if you have the original games, like I don't know, there would, like to your point, there would have to be something kind of special to sell me on like a remake again, because like that they usually look and run so well even on the older hardware that I don't know. I guess with like these kinds of games, they just need to like really give me something extra to sell me on or something. I don't know.
Yeah, and that probably will not happen, unfortunately. Probably, if we were going to put our bets in, it's probably going to be bare bones shit.
What's their track record recently? Because I'm thinking back, like I have a few of their like the Wii games that they released on Wii U. Um, But there's some games that they did on the Wii U that they put over to the Switch that I don't have, and I have a lot of those Wii U games that I never opened. So I just don't know what their track record is right now on their re-releases.
Well, on the re-releases, anything that was originally on Wii U and eventually came out on Switch, I mean, it's like a one-to-one port. I mean, there's I can't see any differences at
No
all.
extras or anything.
No. The only thing I can speak of is that if there was any DLC, specifically with Mario Kart 8, as well as New Super Mario Brothers U, if you bought that on Switch, basically you got all the DLC on a physical copy. So like if anything there was that benefit that you're basically getting the complete edition, or as sometimes it's called the game of the year edition. It basically had all the content,
Right.
and like for example Mario Kart 8, obviously if it's DLC you get all the tracks, all the extra racers, blah blah blah, but it had the retail price of a full brand new game of $59.99.
Probably still does.
Oh yeah, that's maintained its price. In fact, if any game that you trade into GameStop right now, that'll probably have the highest trade-in value of any game. Period. Mario Kart 8, because that's a game that everyone has to fucking buy and sells over and over again. It's the same shit they just release. But that's the track record when it goes from Wii U to Switch. But the new thing on the chopping block is, I guess, with a Nintendo 64 game that's now releasing on Switch, and I guess a GameCube game and so forth. You know what I mean? And a Wii game releasing on Switch. There is a one, I guess, exception is that Xenoblade Chronicles is being somewhat of a remake, I think, and I could be totally wrong. Is that has to be rebuilt from the ground up, I think. I was reading some things and I could be making this shit up, so take this like a grain of salt if you're listening, but apparently that is happening. So,
Hmm.
you know, if it was like a remake and it had enhanced graphics or something, and it was like literally like a remake in the sense of built from the ground up, I'd fucking buy that shit day one. Especially Super Mario 64, just for nostalgia's sake. But if it's just like an HD remaster, like I can't see myself
Yeah,
going.
like I was all in on the Mario. Well, no, they didn't do that on the. I was just thinking the 3DS, the N64 remake. That wasn't on the 3DS. That was the original DS, right?
That is correct. They did do a few Nintendo 64 releases, and for Super Mario 64, it was released on DS. Star
I think I'm
Fox,
thinking. So Ocarina, I think, was done on 3DS. I think that's what I'm thinking of. Yeah.
yes, and Majora's Mask came out on 3DS, and Star Fox 64 was released on 3DX. But those
Yeah.
were enhanced. Those had enhanced graphics that had
Yeah, I was all
3D.
in on those.
Yeah, yeah. And technically, in my mind, the Star Fox 3DS, Star Fox 64 3DS, Ocarina of Time 3DS, and Majora's Mask 3DS, I think are the definitive versions now. Because technically those were quote unquote somewhat of enhanced ports versus just a port.
Yeah, I'd be interested to see the all the different versions compared because I know the one. Well, I haven't played it in a really long time, but the Ocarina that they put out on GameCube on that collection disc.
Hmm.
I don't remember if that was like a locked 30 frames per second. Like, I don't know if that was like like a better performing version of the game. I have to go back and check that out.
Yeah, that's an interesting question. And
It's been so long since I played that.
that's like a release that you can't even get mad about, talking about the GameCube one back in the day, because technically that's the first time the Master Quest um, add-ons were available in the United States of America, because I think the Master Quest version of Ocarina of Time was originally a 64 DD release, and no one fucking.
That's crazy. So the GameCube the collection disc is the first time it was available?
in the United States
And then the 3DS remake.
for the Master Quest stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was probably the second time in the United States, but originally it was a Japanese exclusive.
that's crazy.
And random, totally off topic, but something that I thought was cool is that someone went into that GameCube version, ripped the ROM, and then you could play it on a Nintendo 64, which was pretty cool.
Oh, and then I guess somebody just found Viewpoint 2064, found the ROM somehow. I can't remember the person's name right now, but
Some collector
yeah,
released it.
somebody found the ROM, dumped it. Now like anybody can go on and play it. I watched like oh man, was it Scarlet Sprite? Scarlet Sprites, I think, put a video out
Yeah,
covering it, and it looked yeah, it looked pretty good. Unfinished, but it looked pretty good.
interesting. Something to check out.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, eventually, like anything, if it's download, here's another thing too. If it's download only, I'll never fucking buy it. If it's
Yeah.
physical, I might give in the long run.
You know, with Switch,
Hmm.
I've been tempted to buy a lot of digital stuff, and I for the most part I've actually kind of resisted. But like I bought Dooms, you know, I bought the Dooms, I bought Fantasy Star, Virtua Racer, you know, some of the games that they're just not out there physically, so I kind of don't have a choice. But
That is, well,
I've caved a little bit.
yeah, I've caved on two things. I've caved on virtual racing, yep, because that was like that's an enhanced port. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? That was built
it's a fucking great
from
game.
from the ground up too, you know. And technically it's like make shits on the arcade version even, which is
Yeah,
crazy to
totally.
think. And I think Blaster Master Zero 1, I bought into it because I just love Blaster
I have that
Master,
one too. Yep.
and I couldn't fucking wait. But eventually that will be released on physical as probably a dual pack of 1 and 2. But that's like the exception. You know what I mean? Like, that's exclusive content, you know? If
Wait, there's a Blaster Master Zero 2?
Yes.
Oh shit. Okay. I did not know that.
Yes. And now here's my message to you to wait because it's basically confirmed that the physical dual pack is coming.
Okay.
So, well, let's move on. The next topic that we're going to talk about is, and I'll share my screen for this one, is the Nicalis store basically release, I'm going to say a semi-exclusive, and um, can you still hear me? Uh-oh.
The fuck.
Can you still hear me?
Now I can. There you go.
That's interesting. I guess I am double in this on my both of my
I
accounts.
just saw that. I'm like, what the fuck is going on?
I have no idea how that just happened. Oh, you know what? That is because I am. Let's even see what happens if I hang up one time. And I lost them. This is what happens when you record a podcast live and you probably don't have time to edit it. So I'm just going to keep talking about it. Nicalis actually released a store exclusive, and the store exclusive in question is called Redout. And Redout is basically a racer. And Crossan, can you hear me right now?
Now I can.
Okay, perfect. I'm just going to keep talking. I have both of my accounts in here somehow, and I can't even figure it out. But I was continuing the podcast without you hearing me. But if you can see my screen right now, Crossan.
I see your cam.
Perfect. There was a store release for Nicalis, and Nicalis is, I guess, a publisher that's released a lot of indie type games and whatnot. And they decided to put out a Switch port of a game called Redout. And Redout came out on Xbox, PS4, and possibly PC. And let's just basically call this a somewhat okay F-Zero ripoff.
I think I
And
might have this.
Yeah, I think we both bought it on Xbox One.
Yeah.
And the reason I'm triggered about this is they're basically catering to kind of like the limited market, and they released 1,000 copies only of a Hyper Gun edition with bonus. And the only difference between this and the retail version is that the cover art says Music Mini CD inside, and it comes with a mini CD soundtrack. And I'm seeing a lot of the Switch collector like movement buying this left and right. And when you go to the checkout, it's close to $50 shipped. Let's say 40, it's $49 shipped. Let's say $50 shipped to buy a fucking port of this game, which is, in my opinion, a budget title for everything else. So you're not only paying the Switch tax, you're playing the degenerate limited run collector tax, and they're basically, I'm going to say, being uh, predators for this type of buyer, in my opinion. And I'll admit, I did go and click on it, but when I saw that price, I was like, are you fucking kidding me? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
So it's what's this version? Hypergun? Like what is that? Is that a band?
I don't know what hypergun means, but it is the only difference is it comes with this CD. That's it. A music CD. And it was limited to 1,000 copies, exclusively through their store. Let's see if
Hmm.
I can get a picture of this. Here it is. So here is the exclusive version. It comes with an instruction booklet. Unknown if the retail version comes with an instruction booklet. Probably unlikely. But like, you have to ask yourself.
Packaging, I mean, it looks good, but it's not. I don't know about $50
Yeah, but like,
for this game specifically. You know what I mean? Because I think it's like a, yeah, I guess it's like a cross between like F-Zero and Wipeout.
yeah, exactly. That's exactly what it is. It's basically like a budget version of it. But like, I just don't understand. Like,
I don't have it, by the way. I just checked.
for Xbox One, I thought you
I
bought
don't
it.
own it. I know. I thought I did too, because I think it was one of the first enhanced titles, but I just never, I guess, pulled the trigger.
I mean, don't get me wrong, it's an okay game, but like, it's even for like a limited exclusive release with some stupid little trinket bonus items. I don't see how this is worth $50.
No.
I mean, it's basically it's basically yeah. They're
At 30, I would do this.
that's exactly what I was gonna say. $29.99 plus. Let's even say they took you for a few. It's $3 to ship anything first class. $3 or $4 max to ship anywhere from one side of the country to the fucking other. Even to fucking Puerto Rico and Alaska, first class should cost like $4 max. And like, I don't see how that's acceptable. You know what I mean? Like, if I was a company too, I'd probably, capitalism, I'd probably do this and, upcharge a bunch of degenerates for, an instruction booklet and a little CD case. But like, I don't know. It's just another example of like the things that people do. They're saying, hey, let's print 1,000 copies, and we'll probably rip 1,000 people off for an extra 20 bucks. Because in reality, for them to print this separate copy with this different cover art, this instruction booklet, and this thing, probably cost them all of a difference of, I don't know, $3 is my guess.
Mm.
Probably cost them, you know, $2, probably a dollar 50. Let's even just make it up. $1.50 for the instruction booklet, $1.50 for the CD. Meanwhile, they're charging an extra $28 shipped. Yep, $28 shipped.
Do you think the art gets printed that cheap though, really?
I think so. Printing something that small in that quantity is cheap.
Plus shipping it to you?
Yeah, they're
I
ripping
don't
people
know.
off. They're charging people priority shipping. $8 priority shipped for a Switch game? That doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
I don't know. So let's even say they're making $15 profit. That's 15K. I mean, they're making $15,000 just by, you know, taking advantage of the collector market, in my opinion. But
Yeah.
hey, supply and demand. I guess that's the way it works. So more power to them from a business decision. All right.
Yeah, this was one of the good times where they strategically only printed 1,000 copies because that's the only way this is going to sell out.
Yep. Exactly.
Because they had to create the demand on this one.
And I'll admit I'm a degenerate too. I buy into some bullshit like that. But come on. Well, let's move along. The so do you think, and have you read any articles that the PS5 and Xbox Series X has any possibility of not getting delayed?
Yeah, so I didn't see the announcements, but a couple like the people that I watch on YouTube and stuff like that were saying that I guess Sony and Microsoft both came out either today or yesterday and like both made statements that while they're like watching what's going on right now, they're saying that everything is still on target.
Wow. That's
Which is yeah, exactly. It's crazy to think that, but I mean, that's what they're saying right now. Who knows? Like, I don't know, man. Like, I guess the manufacturing is still happening or something like that, but then what happens when the supply chain gets fucked or the demand side gets fucked? Like it's kind of happening right now.
well, not only that, we still know nothing about PS5 in terms of besides like specs on paper. We don't even know what the fuck it looks like, what the controller looks like, right? Yeah.
No,
We don't even,
no.
we know, yeah. I mean, the only
I
thing
just assume it's going to be like the
another
DualShock 4 with some tweaks.
yeah, they're probably not going to do anything. And you know what? It's like yeah, it's probably going to be a no frills kind of design that's just like fucking another black box, big black box with some shit in it.
Pretty much. Pretty much. And I think they're going to go through it for like the I guess how like the new Xbox has like this sort of tower aesthetic.
Hmm.
Like I think Sony's going for like more kind of old school console design aesthetic. You know what I mean? Like keep it kind of traditional.
Yeah, that makes sense. Well, I hope they do. I hope it's like actually something interesting because it's just like the same shit all over again. Black box, fucking PC tower. I mean, in some ways it's convenient, in some ways it makes sense, especially from like, stacking all those components into like a box or whatever the fuck.
Hmm.
But I don't know. But like, I don't know. When I think of a console, like, I don't know, they all have like their own shapes and stuff and things I remember, colors, buttons on them. I don't know. I guess it's like a thing of the past now. Maybe I should just let that go. But yeah, I don't know. I think it's bullshit. I think with them not even making like maybe it's still gonna hit holiday, but like they're gonna run into like to your point like supply chain and everything like it's gonna be like a fucking shit show of a launch. Like
Yeah. Well, I think yeah, I definitely think it's going to be a shit show of a launch, but if you look at it, there's sort of like two declining things happening at the same time where like the demand side is going to go down because of the economy and shit.
yeah,
And then the side is also going to go down because of, everything else taking a shit, the logistics. So it's actually kind of like they almost seem to be sort of like meeting in the middle where they kind of should be. But I think what it's just going to mean is that it's going to be a lower supply.
yep.
They're not going to sell like they sold this generation, like period.
Well, another thing you told me, and I still don't haven't heard anything about it, and I still don't know whether it's like a rumor or confirmed, but you mentioned to me that the Panzer Dragoon Saga source code was found. Is this true, Crossan?
So I thought that I didn't know that this was a thing, but
Okay.
apparently like there was this video or some sort of conference that took place in April of 2019, or at least that's when the video was posted.
Mm-hmm.
And you can go, I think the guy who posted it's called Skill Gym. I think that's like the YouTube thing or whatever. But it was posted on like April 20th uh, 2019, I think that's the right date. And it's like one of the guys who, made the game,
Mm-hmm.
and somebody in the audience asked the question, like, is the source code actually gone? And the person sort of like their response kind of hinted that like maybe it was found.
Hmm.
And like not too recently either. It seemed like just from the context that it seemed like they'd had it
I see.
for at least a couple, for at least a little while. So
I see it.
that's to me like that was like a fucking bombshell to me. Like when I saw that, and I was like, holy shit, because I found this through, I didn't find that by myself. Like that was from, I don't even remember how I found that anymore. But I went on some like internet wormhole, found myself watching that video,
Mm-hmm.
and it was like, holy fucking shit! Like, how is nobody? None of our friends have talked about this, and all of our friends are like such nerds, and they talk about Panzer Dragoon, and nobody's mentioned this before. And it's like year-old information.
Oh yeah.
It's just like, holy shit! Like, how did I not know this? It was just one of those moments. But hopefully they did find it, because that would be great, because then you could put, a proper remake out for it.
Yep. Well, I mean, there is also the thing that even if the source code is not available, there's plenty of methods. And, I'm not a super skilled coder, but like, there's plenty of methods to reverse engineer the coding. In fact, I think it's Night Dive Studios, that specific developer who does a lot of remasters. It's more often than not that they get complete shit in terms of original assets or source code when they do a remaster, and then they'll basically just reverse engineer the source code and get it themselves and start all over again. Like even right here,
Crazy.
let's even see. I'm looking at Night Dive Studios. They're doing Shadow Man remastered, Blade Runner enhanced. They did Doom 64. I just bought this Blood Fresh Supply, which was a remake, enhanced. I'm gonna say not a remake, enhanced port of Blood that could run in like 4K and shit, like with actual assets, which I thought was
Nice.
crazy. Holy shit! Even right here, they're doing a Power Slave remake,
What?
Power Slave remastered, probably. Yep, Power Slave. That's crazy. It's coming out.
Damn. That must be why the value is going up on that one so much.
Yep, they're
Because
doing.
wasn't Cagely saying that Power Slave was going up, or somebody was?
Yeah, Power Slave on Saturn is worth like at least $200, I think. Maybe.
What?
Yeah, Power Slave on Saturn. Let's even see. I'm actually interested. Fuck it, let's look. Power
Yeah.
Slave. Power Slave, according to price charting, complete is 180 on Sega Saturn, $54 on PlayStation.
Holy shit, man.
Yeah, and it
I
was
got Power Slave like just a couple years ago, and it was like 60, 50.
on Saturn.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I think I bought it on PlayStation for like probably the $40 range. Well, yeah, there you go. I mean, a lot more people lately have been getting into the complete sets on Saturn for whatever reason. I don't know why. Maybe people are just finally starting to do it because collecting is now, no longer such a hard hit. Uh, who knows? Well, that would be cool. Let's hope it happens. But moving along, and this is a topic that we've discussed often with, CRTs getting, more scarce, and you can't even like find them locally, and people are asking like, $100 for like a consumer Sony set. GameSack,
Crazy, dude.
yeah, it is crazy, and you can't even. Good luck finding a PVM or a BVM locally. It,
Dude, I'm glad we collected our shit when we did. I'll just put it that way.
yeah, and I was because I was a naysayer of PVMs and BVMs and whatnot for a long time. But as I got deeper into the blacker hole, I got one. I did find one locally somehow, some way, and I did buy one at a convention for pretty decent deal, probably half off the going rate. But anyway, GameSack released a video on probably the new avenue most people will have to take is modding a consumer CRT for RGB. And the video that we're talking about, they didn't really go into the specific like tutorial aspect of doing it yourself. They more so talked like at a high level of what was actually happening. And the mod itself, and I think what they actually tap into is, and again, I could be wrong because my understanding is limited. I'm not highly technical with modding TVs or some shit like that, but I think they tap into the menu that's on TVs, whatever that on-screen display is, basically like the text that comes on like your menu when you change
Yeah.
settings and shit. I think they're tapping into that basically. I think they're piggybacking onto that because they can display in RGB somehow. And basically they are running the signals through that, and that's how you are able to achieve RGB with, minimal wires and minimal, I guess, effort. And note that there are some TVs that you can't do this on. Um, and
What was the? I didn't watch the video, so like, what is there any hardware that you have to buy, or like, what were they? Is there a card or some shit that you have to solder? Or
No, basically you're rerouting the signals utilizing that output basically. And in terms of what you would have to buy is I believe you would have to buy um, BNC connections for red, green, blue, and you would have to basically put those BNC connections just like your PVM on the back of your CRT. That's the extra hardware that you would have, and you would have to run the RGB signals to that new BNC, um, I guess, input. Yes, it would technically be an input for red, green, blue. And that's the only new hardware that you necessarily need that I'm aware of. You would also have to have your minimal knowledge of soldering to solder the direct signals, basically piggybacking off of that menu, and then you should be able to achieve RGB. But mind you, and this is from my experience of going down this rabbit hole, anytime someone mods a CRT, they're usually modding one that doesn't have component input. And
right?
there are some, and I think, in my opinion, you're splitting hairs of component versus RGB in the comparison if you're using the proper cables. But it totally makes sense if, like, you find a smaller set and a nice set, and you're able to do this, and maybe you gain the knowledge to do it yourself, or maybe you pay someone to do it. I don't know what the street value is to pay someone to do it, but according to the video, if you pay someone that knows what they're doing, they can do it in under an hour. So I can't see a service like this costing more than, like, I don't know, $80, especially if they do it in under an hour and it requires minimal parts. If you just need a BN to fucking 3 inputs for red, green, blue, you know,
Right.
I can't see it costing more than $80. If someone wanted to come to my house and mod a TV, and like I really wanted it, and they did it for $80, I mean, it seems reasonable, you know.
Yeah,
Um,
$80 I would do it.
exactly. But I think this is like the next trend, is that it'll be like a common modding service. I wouldn't doubt if our good friend Leo in Digital Press Springfield starts doing it himself, especially with his knowledge of shit. I'm sure it's something he can pick up on. I'm sure it's something that anyone could pick up on if you're used to just dealing with, mods, um, and especially like recapping like a chassis on for a specific monitor. Um, I think it's something that you could easily do. So, there's plenty of people out there that pay, that offer modding services, and I think that this is something that could be done.
Yeah, they should do it because like I would never want to actually mod or fuck with a monitor myself, just because like I don't want to fuck with that charge that it holds, you know?
Yeah, that's something I kind of had that anxiety too, but after watching like at least 100 videos, I've overcome the anxiety of discharging a CRT is not hard. You can take a lot of very simple safety precautions and you can be okay. Pretty much all you're doing is just clipping an alligator clip to a screwdriver and then clipping it to basically a piece of metal where it's grounded, basically, or maybe I'm using the wrong term of not being grounded. But with that will prevent you from being shocked. And basically, you're doing it with one hand. You're not touching anything else with your other hand while you're using the screwdriver.
Yeah.
You basically move it under the anode, I think is the correct word. It's basically that suction cup that's connected to the TV. And then you just hear a pop, and then it should be discharged. So, but it is nothing to fuck around with. It is serious, that part. But as long as you just, if you were to Google something, discharging a CRT monitor, you should learn how to do it. And once it's discharged, I mean, you're safe. I mean, and if you think about it, if you obtain a CRT for free, you don't really have much to lose, other than your time, you know.
Yeah.
So it is definitely a at-home project that I consider to fuck with myself. Will I be doing it anytime soon? Probably not. Will I be doing it in the future? Um, Highly likely, especially if, like, let's say 10 years from now, my CRTs that I have to start to fucking die. I mean, I'm going to eventually have to learn how to, replace the capacitors on a lot of the chassis on my, arcade machines. It's never going to make sense to just keep paying a tech to do that over and over again.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
getting into classic cars and not knowing how to change your fucking oil. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm just looking at my Trinitron right now and my PVM, and I'm just like, if one of these fucking things goes, like, I don't know how the fuck I'm gonna fix them. I mean, I guess I can. No, well, no, I don't even know. I wouldn't even know.
Well, PVM is worth saving. I'll be honest. I would probably right now we're on like the edge. Like I would if like my consumer CRT took a dump tonight, I would just fucking throw it out and try to obtain another one. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're not at that point where it's like you can't find it at all, but it's definitely a struggle compared to 5 years ago. I mean, 2015, dude, I was hoarding a CRT almost every night of my life locally.
Yeah.
And when I mean locally, I was driving less than 15 minutes round trip. You know what
Oh,
I
they were
mean?
dime a dozen, like the best TVs. People were just like, here, take it off my hands for free. It was fucking great. I mean, I got my PVM for shipped. It was like $60.
Well, that's insane. That'll never happen again.
No.
Literally never happen again.
Yeah, it was great.
All right, so Doom Eternal. Did you pick it up crossing or no?
No, I'm cheap.
All right, well, here's good news. I would say probably in a matter of days, people are going to start dumping a used copy, probably including me the second I dump it. So the second I finish it, I'll dump it because that's my MO now. If I buy a game on release date, I'll try to beat it within a 2 week period max and then just sell it because it makes zero fucking sense, especially when 6 months later it'll be $20.
Yeah, exactly.
If I could sell it for 48, 45, 48 bucks shipped used, I'll get $28 back in my pocket. And then, you know, during Black Friday of this year when the world is a toxic waste bin and everyone is unemployed, maybe I'll be able to scrunch up my pennies and, buy it during Black Friday for $20 or less. But to actually speak of the game, is it awesome? Yes. Is it perfect? No. Is it better than Doom 2016? Debatable. That's probably my thoughts off the bat.
I'm dying to play it. I was watching some videos today, and it just looks so fucking good. It looks so good.
Well, it did the right things. It's more of the same where it needs to be more of the same. Where they added things, I think they fucked up. Like, honestly, they could have just done like enhanced graphics, the graphics engine, more of the same soundtrack, more of the same brutal finishing moves that they have, more, crazy level design. The only thing about Doom Eternal that pisses me off is that they added like all this fucking platforming to it.
See, that actually like kind of was pulling me in a little bit.
The
So
platforming.
yeah, I actually kind of like that. I'm kind of digging that. So I think it's gonna have a mixed reaction.
I don't know, when you actually play it, I think you won't like. I think you'll be like, "What the fuck is going on?"
Okay.
It's nice. The only thing I can benefit to it is that like it's a nice break for what actually happens. Like, it's just not like a firefight of like killing off 100 demons when you're in like a confined area, or killing off like a boss or whatever, or like, you know, doing somewhat of a puzzle. It's kind of like a break in between all the gameplay. It's something new. That's the only
Yeah.
benefit to it. But an execution of like the controls and I don't know, the attempts of making like certain jumps and stuff. Like, for example, you have a double jump and you have like a quick like boost, right? And you have to like mix the double jump and the boost to maybe like jump over this huge fucking cavern to, I don't know, like just barely make it and grab onto the edge of this ledge. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, totally.
it's satisfying it once you make it towards like a hard jump, sure. But like, I don't know. I was just like, come on. Once I was done, I was like, oh, thank God it's back to the brutal killing. You know what I mean?
Right, right.
I don't know. Is it?
Yeah, I gotta play that shit, man. It just looks so good, and but at this point, I'll probably just wait till it's like $20. Either that, or even better, if it comes on Game Pass right when the Series X launches.
Oh yeah.
I think that'll be a huge win for them if they do that. And that kind of almost makes sense timing wise, but maybe not. I don't know. We'll see.
Let me put it this way. I give Doom 2016 a 9 out of 10. I give Doom Eternal probably like, I don't know, a 9.25 out of 10. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, like it's, they didn't fuck it up or anything, like, but it's a must play if you love Doom 2016.
yeah, I fucking love it.
Yeah. So eventually you're gonna get that shit. Eventually you're gonna play.
Hmm.
But we have backlogs to the point where we'll never be able to play all these games. But now's a great time
Yeah,
to catch up. That's for sure. I've been,
yeah,
been playing shit tons of stuff.
yeah. I've been playing stuff every chance I get, and I'm still, dude. I've got 103, 104 hours into Dragon Quest 11. Still not
Jesus.
done with that game yet. Yeah, it's insane, dude. I've been playing that game since like summer of last year. It's just like it doesn't end. And then
It.
I just go down these side quest rabbit holes on
Uh.
Yakuza 0, and I have to finish that game too. Both these games I've been playing for like ever, and I just need to finish them.
They're both over 100 hours, right? These games easily.
Yakuza, I'm like 40.
Jesus.
I think I'm about 40 hours in. Dragon Quest 11 is about 104 hours. So yeah, between the two of them over the last couple months, I haven't touched anything else,
That's
right?
that's
Or
insane.
no, I've been playing a little bit of Blaster Master Zero again, like taking like little breaks here and there, playing other shit like Doom 2, um, other just sort of like quick hit games. But those are the two long ones I'm playing.
Is Dragon Quest the new one just a ton of grinding?
It's yeah. There's a good amount of grinding in there. It's classic Dragon Quest that way. It's not as bad. Like you don't. There's some Dragon Quest you would like literally have to go there and grind for a couple hours just to get past one boss. And I haven't run into that as much. Like you kind of grind on the way to your next objective and your next like whatever. So it's not as bad, but there are a couple sections where I would say like you do have to kind of like grind a couple levels before a boss, but it's not as bad as like some of the older ones.
Hmm.
I still think I really like 11 a lot, but I still think 8 is probably my favorite of all time.
Dragon Quest 8. I'll be
Yeah.
honest, I haven't really gotten into a lot of the Dragon Quest games, and honestly, like the past few years, I haven't played a lot of RPGs. But now that, like, it's weird to say this, now that like my life is settled and I have some time and like I'm just like chilling straight up, I'm down to get into this and like I'm like all about this now. So
Yeah, I love Dragon Quest. Any game that comes out Dragon Quest related, I just have to play it. Although I don't have builders. That's all right. I'll get to it one day.
Dragon Quest Minecraft.
Yeah, exactly.
So Half-Life Alyx. What do you know about this, Crossan?
I know I want to play it, but man, it's like $1,000 for an index, and supposedly I guess you can hook up like a lesser, what is it, the Quest? That's more sort of standalone, but it has like some sort of tethering system where you can tap into your GPU
Mm-hmm.
and run it through your GPU. Um, but it's just so goddamn expensive to jump into VR just for that one game. Like, there's no way I could ever justify that.
Don't do it. You know why?
It's going to come to PSVR too.
Yep, absolutely.
That'll be a killer exclusive.
There's no fucking way on the planet because they've eventually done years later console releases of all Valve has released console releases of all their popular games. They won't let that money go. There's no
Yeah,
way. And yeah, you could buy like a cheaper headset, and as far as I know, Alyx is compatible with just about any headset, mind you. But I would say that you that is a definite if they like it's pretty much confirmed that PS VR2 is a thing. So,
yeah,
I,
they have to do it.
yep, it's definitely happening.
And the PS5 is definitely going to be powerful enough to run Alyx.
Oh, absolutely. In fact, I did take a look at the specs just for shits and giggles, and it looks like the required specs were not that intense um, versus what I was expecting. So, I mean, knowing Valve, this game was probably in fucking development for years. You know what I
Oh
mean?
yeah,
So, you know, usually the graphics are like acceptable, but they're not like, over insanity. You know what I'm saying? And and that's what they're known for. Like Half-Life 2, like when it first came out, I remember I needed to upgrade my card. That was like back in the day, Half-Life 2. I was like, okay, time to upgrade my card for Half-Life 2, but
I remember like Half-Life 2 being announced for the original Xbox and people being like, "There's no fucking way you're going to run it on the original Xbox." And it came out and it actually ran pretty well on it.
yep.
But I was more than happy to upgrade when it came out in the 360. But um, yeah, I mean, Valve, they make some fucking killer games, and I guess they can run them on anything.
Yep. Well, I'm definitely going to do it. I'm holding out. I'm not going to buy it on PC. Fuck that. And my backlog is so insane that it doesn't make sense. It's definitely a PSVR 2 title. It's coming.
Yeah,
So, 2K Games released ports of their popular releases. That includes Bioshock, Borderlands, and I assume probably XCOM. I'm not sure. Let's just say 2K Games. I'm just gonna Google 2K Games Switch. 2K Games Switch. Let's see.
yeah, it's a Bioshock collection,
In
XCOM.
XCOM. Yep.
Was it just those two?
Bioshock, Borderlands, and XCOM.
That's it.
And the reason I'm triggered about this is they're gonna be at best the Xbox 360 version. They have two choices, right? they could just do like a straight one-to-one port of the Xbox 360 versions of all these games, basically running like perfectly on Switch, or they could try to do the enhanced versions of these games, like better textures and shit, and maybe they release like, chugging on Switch, which they usually do nowadays, to try to make it look like a little bit better. But
Well, it's going to be whatever the fuck they did on the PS4 and Xbox One, but just toned down a little bit.
oh, so they're gonna do like the enhanced textures and all that shit. I see.
Because isn't that what they did with the Bioshock collection? I didn't buy it or whatever, but I assume that's what it was.
Yeah, basically it was like the PC port running on like a more PC port, I guess, like an enhanced. Like it was almost like if you're running, like let's just say the Xbox version was running on medium, and the Xbox 360 version is running on medium, and the PS4 version is running on like extra high settings for any of these
Right.
games. So, and mind you, you know a Switch can run anything a fucking Xbox 360 could, which is pretty amazing to even think
Oh, by
about.
far. Yeah.
But they're definitely, I think they're gonna half-ass these ports. They're gonna run kind of meh. And the thing that's really pissing people off is basically these are like download keys because half of the game, 75% of the game minimum is gonna be downloaded, and they're not even including, the majority of the game on the game cart itself. So it's like that ongoing trend where it's like you're basically buying a resellable game key, you know? So, I don't know.
Yeah.
I,
It's just kind of silly to me at this point to put those games out. There's just so much other stuff to play on the Switch, and to play games, those specific games, like in handheld, like I don't know. There's just so many other things to play on Switch that I would prioritize over those because I have like the option to play them on the 360. I can play them on my Xbox One, my PS3, PS4. Like I can play it on PC. You know what I mean? Like I don't know.
the only thing I can see this,
These games specifically is just XCOM. I can actually kind of see because that fits the format really well.
sure.
But yeah, the other ones are just sort of like, okay, not so excited. But I guess maybe some people are good for them.
Yeah, but I guess the only thing I could see this appealing to is someone who's like an on-the-go gamer, like that literally they are never home, they commute, they travel all the time, or maybe they don't have the money or the means to have their own screen. There is a lot of gamers out there that have been purely handheld, for the majority of their lives, especially like, children or maybe people that can afford it. Maybe it is their first time to access some of these games, the first time to access Bioshock, you know?
Yeah.
Like when I was young, I think I gamed on Game Gear. Like for a while, the only thing I had was like Game Gear, And if I was going to play Mortal Kombat, I played it on a Game Gear. I didn't play it on.
Oof. Damn.
Yeah, that was my only access to a home port of Mortal Kombat for a long time. Believe it or not.
That's brutal.
Yeah, I was dealing with what I could, but I'm sure that they have such like a tap into the market that they do foresee still selling this, and with the fact that there's the Nintendo collector following that they have to buy it, the
Yeah.
Nintendo collectors are gonna buy a copy of each just to have it on Switch, and it'll be probably the third or fourth time that they buy Bioshock. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Let's see how many times
Minimum.
how many times did I buy Bioshock? I'll admit it. I did. I originally bought it on PC, and that's probably the first place I played Bioshock. I eventually bought it for like, pennies, like literally $1 on Xbox 360 to have a physical copy. And then I did buy Bioshock, whatever they were calling it, and anniversary or whatever the PS4 collection is called. I ended up buying it on PS4. And I don't know why I bought it on PS4. You know, Still I can't even explain it. But maybe it was like $15 or something. But I did end up buying it 3 times. I bought Bioshock 1 3 times.
You know,
Borderlands,
it's funny.
probably the same thing. I bought Borderlands 3 times. I did. I
Yeah,
realize I'm a fucking degenerate.
I have Borderlands a few. Yeah, I have the original 360 Borderlands. I have the Xbox One. What is it? Game of the Year edition, or what? What did they call it? Was it the Game of the Year edition that came out just like last year? It was the remaster.
Yeah, they called it was just I think it was Borderlands
It's,
remastered.
is that okay?
Yeah.
But anyway, so yeah, so I got that. Um,
Which
did I buy it again?
again, the Xbox One version was basically just the PC version, but just accessing the 4K settings. That's all it was.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, yeah, Borderlands. Yeah, I've bought that a couple times.
Yep. XCOM, I probably bought that twice.
I don't have any of the Bioshocks anymore. I just realized.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. At some point, I must have traded them in, or done something, whatever, before I started collecting again.
You know, it's funny. All those games, because they've been released so many times, are like in the bargain bin for Xbox 360 and PS3,
Oh yeah, 100%. Bioshock. Yeah,
like a
you can get
dollar.
Bioshock for $1. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I guess it is what it is. I guess we kind of proved it. It's just that just to access it on a different system, 25% of the sales are probably more, probably 50% of the sales are going to just be to collect cards, and
Yeah.
50% of the sales are going to be the people that this is the first time they're actually able to access this game. So I guess it does make sense. I can't even believe I'm saying it. I've convinced myself after drinking 2/3 of my vodka cranberry.
And then 2 years from now, there's going to be another Bioshock collection that gets released with ray tracing
Oh yeah,
for the
absolutely,
PS5. Yeah, that's
absolutely.
100% happening.
Can't wait to buy The Last of Us 2 again on PS5. I'm gonna buy it on PS4 in a month. It'll be
Yeah,
shipped to my house. I'll probably play it on PS4 because now I got fuck tons of time now.
not for nothing though, but Bioshock, that original, what was it?
The first one?
What was the name of the city? What was the name of the city?
Why am I thinking of the word Rapture?
Yeah, I think that's it, Rapture. Can you imagine Rapture on PS5 Series X level with like ray tracing coming through the water and shit like that? Like
Yep.
that would actually be fucking sick. That would actually be fucking sick. But yeah, the Switch isn't going to get me there.
Dude, Bioshock's graphics when that game was first released was fucking like breathtaking, I
Oh,
remember.
mind blowing.
Yeah.
Mind blowing. Yeah, that opening crash scene when you're out in the water and the fire and all that shit.
Yep.
That was like that blew my mind at the time.
I'm not gonna lie, I actually like Bioshock Infinite a lot. I don't know why, but I do. A lot of people shat on it, but I enjoyed Bioshock Infinite, and
It was fine.
yeah, I don't know, I just liked it. And I liked the character. What was her name? I guess I must have not liked her
I
that
don't know.
much. The chick. Let's just say the chick. The chick, whatever her name was. They did like this DLC where you play as her and it's like stealth. I actually enjoyed it a lot.
Oh, I never played that. I had it on PC. That was like one of the few PC games that I had. Because I bought my PC like 5 years ago, 5, 6 years ago, something like that,
Hmm.
thinking that I was going to be like, all right, I'm going to play like a whole lot of PC games,
Hmm.
get a nice new graphics card, everything's fresh, new, blah, 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 whatever.
Hmm.
And it's like, no, I didn't play anything on my fucking PC. I'm
Really?
a console gamer, I guess. I tried it, but I just couldn't. I kind of like enjoyed just my legs up in front of my couch, like a big TV,
Yeah,
playing.
that I totally get. The only thing I can see making sense on PC is competitive, like real-time
Yeah.
strategy with a mouse, or like competitive first-person shooter on PC. So, well, moving along, limited run games, and let me share my screen for the sake of, I guess, visual, because this will be necessary during this segment. Limited Run Games has a few open pre orders on their website right now. And the games in question are Streets of Rage 4 and Panzer Dragoon Remake for Switch. Unknown if that is coming to PS4 as of now. And the thing that is triggering me, Sir Crossan, is that every single version of this game, mind you, there are two versions of Panzer Dragoon, right? And two versions of Streets of Rage 4 for each system, with another version for each system on the way to be announced. Now, there's a few problems here, Crossan. Is
Yeah.
one, obviously all these games are going to be released as DLC. One is already out, Panzer Dragoon Saga Remake. You can buy it right now. I'm pretty sure it's $24.99, which
hmm
which makes the physical standard very attractive. It's only $15 more for a physical version. And that is very acceptable. In fact, the Switch standard of Panzer Dragoon Remake, I think, is in line with the original focus of what limited run games originally was. And I will buy that. The problem here is these classic versions. Now, here's the price difference. 20 extra dollars, right? And for an additional 20 extra dollars, the only thing that you are going to get
A piece of plastic.
is plastic, correct? Is
Well, to be fair, you get plastic and you're getting the art, the artwork, and all that stuff.
yes, there is a long box format instruction manual, an exclusive production booklet that is included. So, a Switch case, I'm sorry, a Saturn
Saturn.
jewel case is probably worth one of these reproductions retail about $3. It probably costs them all of $1 to make, right? In quantities. The same thing goes with the manual, probably costs them about $1, $1.50 to make, something like that. You know what I mean? Let's just say it costs them about $3, maybe $5 max. You know, maybe up the shipping charge. I'm saying they're making an extra $15 profit on this. You know what I'm saying? Something like that
hmm hmm
in the quantity. And this release is open pre-order. Everything's fucking open pre-order if I didn't state that already. So, I mean, the reason I'm trigger crossing is that this is obviously a fucking money grab. They're trying to, again, similar to the Nicalis shit, pry on the degenerates, the collectors. And I'll admit, I salivated when I saw this, and then I stopped myself. And the reason why I stopped myself was one. Here, I'll go through the reasons of why I want to talk. I want to talk someone and stop them from jumping off the ledge, so to speak. Is that this is one? It's open pre-order, totally eliminates that factor of rarity, artificial rarity or whatever the fuck you want to call it. Um, the fact, another thing is
They probably had this option with Redout.
with Redout.
They probably had this option with Redout to do an open pre-order, but since there's no demand for Redout, they're going to create it by saying we're only going to make 1,000.
Yep, that's true. Well, there is a demand for this, and this is benefiting limited run games is that they're not stuck with extra copies.
Yeah.
Um, that's the other thing too. But here's the thing: it's like one, the cover art fucking sucks. Let's talk about all this. Like that cover art, I think sucks ass in my opinion.
It kind of looks like the original, though. Like the original cover art isn't spectacular.
Okay, let's see. So yeah, the original art has the dude riding the fucking.
Yeah. And what's the new one
The
again?
new one is just
Mm,
the fucking dragon looking thing
yeah,
or dragoon
trash.
just sitting there on a rock screaming or some shit. I'll admit, maybe if it was like a total one-to-one sync with new art or something, maybe it would make sense. I don't know.
Yeah.
It doesn't even have.
You're missing the fucking Sega Saturn going up the left-hand side, so it's just blank white space.
I mean, like,
Doesn't even make sense.
it was attractive. It would have been cool. And, like, this is what they're trying to market to. Like, maybe you had a display and you had all the Panzer Dragoon games and you had this displayed with it. But the problem with me is that even triggers my OCD more is that this is a Switch game. It's not a
Yeah,
Sega Saturn game. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
and it's difficult for me to process these classic editions. So,
I hear you. And yeah, there's some that have pulled it off much better. Like, you release like a Genesis package or something like that. Like I even think like the Streets of Rage 4 one it looks better. Like for some reason I can sort of like see that as acceptable, but for some reason I don't know what it is about the Saturn. I just can't get on board with that one. I just can't do it. And part of it is the red Switch logo that's right there.
well, let's talk about that. If this site ever wants to fucking load for me, is the Streets of Rage 4, and here's the thing that triggers me. It's obviously something that has to do with Nintendo. Here I'm pulling up. This is the Switch version. Doesn't say Genesis on the side. Here's the PS4 version. Clearly says Genesis.
Yeah. And that's clearly the version I'm going to get.
Well, then here's the problem is that I'll be honest, I was again on my finger was ready to fire. I was triggered. My trigger finger was ready to fire. And I looked at this and I'm like, why the fuck? Oh, wow. And in this instance, it's another $25 extra to get this. So let's ask ourselves, Crossan, what are we getting for an extra $25? Well, let's see here today. A reversible
You get
bare knuckle,
clamshell.
a clamshell. Yep, you get your clamshell Genesis case, which costs absolutely fucking nothing. Reversible bare knuckle for cover art and an instruction manual. So you do get some sort of instruction manual. Here's a zoomed in version. This is much better. You also get the original Switch case with the Switch game. There's that too. And you do get the Steelbook,
That's pretty cool.
and the clamshell fits both the Steelbook and the standard game case.
That's pretty tight. I got to give it to him.
You gotta give it to him. You're in on this. You're not
I'm
triggered
kind of
about this. All right.
I,
Well,
no, I kind of like. I'm kind of. I'm digging that. But what is this other version that you were talking about?
so that's where the more triggering comes into play. Is that there is another, what I'm gonna say is a proper collector's edition, not a classic edition as um, limited run states. And what I assume this to be is your full on, uh, you know, collector's edition. And in this instance, it's probably going to have a soundtrack, probably a big fucking plastic box that takes up a fuck ton of space, probably some bullshit like some stickers or a patch, and it probably does have this clamshell with it or not at all. So, and that's to be determined. And probably some sort of physical statue like piece of shit that we don't know what they might include. And I'm sorry, this is an additional thing. I'm looking at the PS4 version, and you were saying you were going to get the PS4 version, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I will say one thing. The Steelbook, and if it's an official Steelbook case, which it looks like it is, the Steelbook for PS4 completely shits on the Steelbook for the Switch. So in terms of bullshit extra aesthetics, the PS4 Classic Edition completely shits on the Switch Classic Edition. And I think this is just a fucking thing where like degenerates will probably have to order multiples or both. And the other thing that was shady is they kind of I'm going to say stealth-like, shadow is the wrong word, stealth-like announced the proper CE was coming. And I saw some people pissed off that they bought this version on my screen right now, the classic version, And I
Mm-hmm.
started talking about it. I was like, don't pull the trigger yet because they're gonna release a a, a CE and people were like, fuck, are you serious? And I'm like, yes. And there was some people like legit pissed off because I think they were banking on people just pulling the trigger and ordering this, then later finding out the CE exists, and then they end up buying both, and then they're just fucked, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I'd probably be just happy with this version, just because I don't need all the other. I don't need like a fucking soundtrack or an art book or any of that other stuff. Like Genesis case, I'm all in on that shit. Especially because it says Genesis.
Yeah. I'll be honest with you again. If the Switch version said Genesis on it, I probably would have bought it, no hesitation, and I would have gave in.
Yeah.
But when I think about it, and I'm like, is it really worth an extra 25 fucking dollars? You know what I mean? For something. Will it look cool if you have all of these complete in box? Oh, absolutely. But like, I don't know. I just there's just so much like money grab, and again, they're smart. They're a business. That the whole point of a business is to make money. You know what I mean? Not to fucking
Yeah.
not make money. So they're smart about that. But literally every fucking thing on my screen right now is open pre-order. And you don't even have to order any of this fucking things. Like, Jesus Christ, there's even a limited run game coming out tomorrow morning. I don't even know what the fuck it is. Ark of the Alchemist. What the fuck is that? I don't even know what that is. Like, there's just something that's coming on this site every day, and you know,
Yeah.
I just, I'm struggling to understand now. You know what I mean? You know, I'll be honest. You know, am I gonna play these games? Yeah, that's the difference. I think.
Or are those like Bluetooth Saturn controllers?
Yes, these are Bluetooth Saturn controllers. So the Bluetooth
Hmm.
receiver is 11.99, and the controller itself is 19.99.
Oh, that's not bad.
And they're
That's not
and
outrageous.
they're advertising this specifically because it works on Switch because it's Bluetooth.
Interesting.
Look, I'm getting triggered about this, and like Croston's like, "Yo, I'm ready to order this shit right now." I'm like selling it to you right now. What the fuck, man? You're pissing me off.
uh,
Oh, that's what this is. This is another Idea Factory
Archery.
game that's open pre-order. That's what Ark of the Alchemist is.
Hmm.
So okay,
It looks like one of the Atelier.
Atelier.
Did they make those?
Idea Factory. No, I think it was what the fuck was that name? But it's not Idea Factory, but it's very similar because it's like that weeb shit. Um, so what's the final verdict, Crossan? You're gonna order the classic edition of Streets of Rage, but not the Panzer Dragoon one?
Yeah, I think that's how it's going to go down.
Oh boy.
I just don't like the I don't like the jewel case there. And I had the original ones, so I'm not like dying to have Panzer Dragoon like in my collection because it's already there. Um, I don't know. Yeah. And it's a different game. It's specifically for the Switch. I will have a Switch physical copy. That's good enough for me.
Mm,
Streets of Rage 4, on the other hand, does not exist on the Sega Genesis, but I will get to pretend that it does.
got it. And here's the other crazy thing. There was no reason to buy this shit because the open pre-order for Panzer Dragoon ends April 24th, which is almost a fucking month from now, for God's
Yeah.
sake. Yeah, that's 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks from now. And Streets of Rage 4 will be open pre-order until they actually release it digitally, which is an unknown date, but it's probably soon. It's probably within the next month or two. Oh, and let's not forget Shadowgate on Switch. Also open pre-order and also has a classic edition, and this ends April 24th as well. So I'll tell you this.
What's the classic edition? Is it like it's like an like the original NES card or something?
That's it's the box is probably the size of an NES cart, but let's see. I'm actually interested. I didn't even bother to look at this at all.
Yeah, it kind of looks like the NES cart.
Retro cartridge sleeve to fit your game case, art print, original game soundtrack, and it looks like it's yeah, like a box. Fits your game case in the sleeve, And then it doesn't really say about the box itself, but I guess you assume from this picture that you're getting an NES size box. Yeah. And one thing I'll say about this box is how we were commenting before about Panzer Dragoon's remake. The box art on this Shadowgate is basically a nod to the actual NES box art.
Yeah,
So
that's what it looks
this is actually fucking cool. Like, why couldn't they do this same approach for Panzer Dragoon? I don't know. So, I don't know. This makes sense to me. And I'll admit, I have bought some of their classic editions. One that I was on, like, quicker, they had me by the fucking balls, was the Bloodstained. I think it's
like. Yeah,
the Bloodstained Retro Revival game. Not the actual Bloodstained game, but that Bloodstained.
the Ritual of the Night, or
Um,
is that the full game? No, Circle of the Moon.
Circle of the Moon. Thank you. Circle of the Moon. I bought that classic edition because it was by the artist who did the Castlevania Konami art. So
That's right.
so I was fucking all over that. I bought that shit without a doubt. It was too cool. I had to get it. It had cool art. I mean, it sold me. In fact, I'd probably be on the edge to buy the Sega Saturn one if the art was a little bit cooler. Maybe I'm talking myself out of it. I don't know. Ultimately, I'll probably be a degenerate and buy some of these in some way, shape, or form. But like, it's just the thing that triggers me is just it's just an obvious money grab because just like the difference in price in some of this shit, it just doesn't make sense to me. You know, the one thing I do want to uncover is that when you buy the classic edition or the CE, their profit margins are much higher. They're
Yeah.
making much more fucking money off of you of buying a game with just this extra bullshit added on to it. You know, I'm going to say their profit margins are probably within the range of about 50, 60% of a standard game. They probably hit about 70, 80%, maybe 75% range. I'm going to say 75% profit margin um, when you buy one of these like CEs or whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
All right. Last but not least, Crossing. This was pretty obvious, but we have to comment on it. We always talk about GameStop. I think about GameStop all the time. Shout out to a few people who make fun of me. Is the 300 more GameStop stores are confirmed to be closing. I mean, this was a no shit Sherlock announcement, but now it's confirmed. I mean, the coronavirus thing
Yeah.
and the closings and the fact that they got their Pennsylvania business license taken away didn't help at all. But here is 300 more stores on the way. And the crazy
Yeah.
thing is that these stores will probably close and while most customers can't even access the store. That's even crazier to me. That there's going to be these stores closing. They probably won't even have closeout or liquidation sales.
No.
And what happens then? Like, let's say this in New Jersey, these 300 stores close in the next 2 months. Let's say, I don't know. I'm just making this up. 10 of those stores are in New Jersey. What fucking happens? That's my question. Do they just send the shit back to the warehouse?
Yeah.
I guess so.
Send it to other stores.
Yeah, but my question is, why the fuck didn't they do that in the first place?
I don't know, man.
So, what do you feel about this? Do you feel that this is just it's just a slow death and we're just watching it? Is that what's happening? Or
I think it's going to be. I don't think it's going to go away completely, but I think there's going to be like a massive drawdown. Like 300 stores is just the beginning now. I think that 300 was announced really before. Well, I mean, it seems like every day is like something new is happening and changing or whatever. But I feel like that 300 was probably that number happened before they were closing all the stores and everything like that. So when this is all said and done, when stuff starts opening again,
Mhm.
I think that 300 number is going to be way higher.
Oh yeah. Here, let's look at some of these comments on this blog. And mind you, This is no secret anymore. If you just simply Google GameStop closing lists on Google, it's like the first fucking result. This blog that somebody's maintaining on Blogspot. Um, they are commenting on this, and they update this list regularly. And the number of New Jersey stores has not changed. It's currently Boonton, New Jersey, Clemington, New Jersey, Mays Landing, New Jersey, Watchung, New Jersey, West Long Branch, New Jersey, all closed, all closing. So basically, because Wednesday is April 1st, that means the stores I just listed will be gone.
Yeah.
And this is an interesting comment off topic. The GameStop by me in Matamoros, PA, where the fuck is that, is open for curbside pickup, so they must have gotten their license back. I've seen a few unconfirmed reports online of PA stores slowly reopening for curbside only. It's possible they agreed to reopen certain stores. It's still listed as closed on the store locator, but takes a while to be updated. There are still quite a few stores that closed at the end of January on here. It's interesting.
Yeah. I'm sure some asses had to be kissed for that to happen.
Oh, absolutely.
But yeah, I mean, they obviously couldn't let that continue to have all of Pennsylvania shut down.
Yeah. I mean, I'll be honest, we comment on this probably every episode or every other episode, but like there's people are saying fuck GameStop because of what they did with the coronavirus and how they fucking reacted to it. They didn't give a fuck about their employees, you know what I mean? Obvious, and that was shitty, but like once GameStop closes, the whole fucking landscape for the hobby of collecting and buying video games will change like entirely, in my opinion. That there's no like one dedicated like chain to like this period, like nationwide chain.
Which doesn't make any sense considering it's like the number one entertainment thing in the country. You know what I mean?
It doesn't make
So
sense
like
on
that's
paper.
why
You're right.
yeah, that's why I'm saying like GameStop is not going to go away completely. They're just going to get decimated to the point where they have to adapt and change, and they'll be small enough to do so. And then, you know, they'll probably expand again at some point. That'll be a good time to buy stock. But right now, it's not.
Well, here's an interesting thing to comment on, and the fact that they're um, I guess reducing the amount of stores like currently where you and I live, Crossan, because Crossan we live about 15 minutes from each other. We can drive 15 minutes in just about any direction, north, south, east, west, and get to a different GameStop location right now, which is fucking
Yeah,
crazy to me. And in some instances, if you drive 15 minutes one way, there's two fucking stores 5 minutes away from each other. You know,
yeah.
that's just fuck
And apart
stupid.
from like a couple small things here and there, they have the exact same stock,
Yep,
exact same shit.
absolutely. And it, you're right. It doesn't make any fucking sense. Um, and you know what? Like, if you think about it, when we go to a mom and pop retro store, the bare minimum we have to drive is 30 minutes. So I think that's the next step is that they're going to reduce in terms of like a square mileage in terms of radius or whatever. I'm sure someone that works for their stores or retail knows this shit in terms of like maintaining locations. I think we'll no longer be able to drive 15 minutes to a GameStop. It'll be reduced to the point where we'll have to drive a half hour to get to a GameStop. I think that's the next thing for once
I
the
mean,
coronavirus issue hopefully dies out.
yeah, I mean, like I think by us, we'll still be 15 minutes away from a GameStop. However, it might be 30 minutes to the next one.
Got
You know
it.
what I mean? Because like around here, it's always going to be, I don't know, you and I, like we live pretty close to everything. So,
That's true.
um, well, I don't know, you're kind of in the sticks-ish.
Yeah.
But even then, like there's stuff out there. You know what I mean? Like New Jersey is only so stick-ish.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Like until you get like south. But like up here, it's, you're never really that far away from anything.
I mean, literally from my location, even though I do live in the sticks, I can be 15 minutes to the Morris Plains store, 15 minutes to the Roxbury or Sucasana, if I'm saying that right, store.
Yeah, I never go that way. It's too far west for me.
Yeah, for me, it's only about 15 minutes down Route 10.
And that's further west, right?
You are correct. Yes,
Yeah.
Route 10 West. And I can drive 15 minutes to Rockaway, and then I have two stores in Rockaway. Um, and then at one point I could drive probably about 20 minutes with normal traffic to the Booton store. And that's now gone. So even though I live in, I guess, the sticks, like I literally had, let me count on my fingers, I have 5 stores within 15 to 20 minutes driving.
Well, yeah, I mean that's what I'm saying is that like our frame of reference is North Jersey. So like when we say the sticks, anybody else is probably like, dude, what the fuck are you talking about? You're like,
Yeah.
you're 5 minutes from anything, But for us, it's like, oh my god, he's all the way over there.
Oh my God, it's 20 minutes. Dude, when I used to live in Belmead, which is, if anyone knows where Belmead is, it's like kind of near the Princeton area. Like, it was like, when I was growing up, it was like basically like farmland and shit out there. Like, I lived in like the fucking, like, I lived in farmland basically. And it wasn't like built out or built up or whatever. If I wanted to go to Best Buy on the weekend to buy some fucking DVDs on sale, and that
Hell yeah.
shows you the time frame, I legit had to drive 40 fucking minutes to get to a Best Buy. I shit you not. Like
That's a haul, man. That's a haul.
40 minutes to get to a Best Buy in West Windsor, New Jersey. Um, because there wasn't the Best Buy in Bridgewater Commons. There wasn't the Best Buy in South Brunswick, and those were newer locations that opened much years later. I was driving, no fucking joke, about 40 minutes, and that included the normal traffic, to just go to Best Buy and browse. When I was driving out there, I was like, holy fuck, I'm going to go and buy something. You know what I mean? And, like, that was the trip. I can't even believe it.
Oh god, yeah. When I first discovered Best Buy, it was like fucking light shining down. Because I found one in Pittsburgh. That was the first time I ever saw one, and I was like, how the fuck do we not have these like in New Jersey where I lived? Because at the time, like, Paramus actually had two at once at one time, but one of them's closed. But it was before any of those were actually in Paramus or anywhere. I'd never even seen Best Buy before, and I'd only been in Pittsburgh for like a year maybe, and I found this place, and it was like, I can get DVDs for like $7 fucking. Are you fucking kidding me? Like, yeah, I'm coming here from now on to buy everything, because like it's a mecca. It's fucking great.
mm-hmm.
I love Best Buy. To this day, I still love Best Buy. But yeah, it was just like such a great thing. Like you just walk in, and you're like, holy shit! Like Christmas sale that they got like the brand new version of Die Hard with 5.1. It's anamorphic widescreen.
Mm-hmm.
It's $7. Like that, at the time that was a big deal.
It was a big deal. I do remember that.
You know.
I used to wait for the Sunday ads to come in the paper back in the day with the
Mm-hmm.
big yellow tags and shit. And
Oh yeah.
and that's how I bought my DVDs back in the day. I would wait until Sunday, check that ad Sunday morning, and I would say, okay, what's on sale this morning?
They would always go toe to toe with Circuit City, because Circuit City would be running some crazy sale on DVDs or video games.
Yep.
And then Best Buy would be like, all right, we're going to do the same thing. And it would just be like, oh, man, it was those early days of buying DVDs were great, man. It was such a good time to collect.
Yeah, and it gave me a reason to go to the store, because I don't remember those kinds of
Mm-hmm.
prices online with free
Oh,
shipping.
I wasn't even buying shit online at that point. This was like late 90s,
Yep.
early 2000, when like Amazon was like still being run out of a garage probably.
Yep. I think you're fucking right, actually. And they were selling the books out of the garage. Is that the actual story? I think that's somewhat accurate. But um, yeah, that's crazy to fucking think, and that's like a flashback. Is that
Yeah,
you weren't buying shit online. You were driving to the fucking store and waiting for that Sunday circular ad. You know what I'm saying?
totally. Yeah, shit's changed, man. We're getting old. I'm even older than your ass.
Yeah. Here, I'll even add to the list that we actually talked about nostalgia. Nostalgia for buying things in a brick and mortar store. You know, and we're probably starting to go nuts because you know what I realize? That's one of the things that's actually fun that will be dead, especially after the coronavirus thing. Like buying a thing in a fucking store that's a non-essential item after this shit that we're experiencing right now as we're recording it will be fucking done. Physical fucking media, physical games, physical movies and shit. I mean, like we were talking about this stuff like in prior episodes. Like a Best Buy barely has like a 4K Ultra HD section. It's like your only option is like to buy them online or whatever. Like I think this is it, man. Like,
God, I hope not.
dude, I don't
I
know.
really hope not, man. I know people are going to, habits are going to have to change because, we can't go to stores and buy shit. Like, I know for me personally, it is going to have to change because I like to leave my house and go out to brick and mortar stores and buy shit. Like, I don't
That's
like
what I'm saying.
ordering all my stuff online, but I'm still going to order the physical copies of games and movies and stuff like that, I think. But, um, I can totally understand some people are just going to be like, fuck this, I'm going digital for everything.
Yeah.
But I will say right now, I'm kind of glad we still have the physical shit because Netflix data speeds are capped.
Yep.
YouTube, every single person is like, out there taking up bandwidth. They have to put a cap on shit. Not a limit, but just, how much bandwidth they can share at once. So, I was streaming Netflix the other day and they're like, oh, it's negligible difference. Like you won't be able to tell the difference. And it's like, I see it.
Oh yeah. Look.
I see it clear as day because, to me, I'm watching 4K Blu-rays.
Yep.
And I can see it on my OLED. Like I can tell the difference. Like it's night and day for me. And but some people, they're probably just not going to give a shit.
Yeah.
But for me, I mean, it's always you just can't be physical, man. You can't do it. And I have it here. Like I don't need to. My utilities can go down, except for power. My internet can go down. I'll still be watching plenty of movies, playing lots of games, all kinds of shit.
Yeah. Yeah. That's true. I don't know, man. It's fucking crazy.
I know.
Well, on that
I know.
on that note, you're absolute trash.
You're trash. It's all trash. Everything's trash.
Everybody's trash. Mark Cagley's trash.
Especially Mark Cagley.
All right. Well, on that note, fuck the world. Goodbye.